Good morning, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers and all the father figures out there this morning. Thank you for all that you have done to shape our lives, for the examples that you give to us, for helping us to manage the ups and downs and in those sideways times in life. I hope and I pray that you feel honored today, that you feel loved today for all of your hard work. Comedian Jim Gaffigan posted on Twitter, "My 4-year-old gave me a handmade card for Father's Day. Maybe for Christmas I'll draw him a picture of some toys." A man named Mike Primavera tweeted, "Get your dad what he really wants this Father's Day. My kids will relate to this, by turning off the lights when you leave the room." And a tweet from a guy whose username I really like, Dad and Buried, reads, "Called my dad to wish him a happy Father's Day. And we spent the whole time discussing back pain and ibuprofen. The circle is now complete." Good fathers and good mothers have a natural impulse to protect their children, to serve as an example to them in tough times. I think it is spot on that the biblical text for this day is on Father's Day. This is a story about the disciples caught in a terrible storm. They need courage. They need leadership. And they need an example of how to face something that is beyond their strength. We've all been through things in life, haven't we, that are beyond our strength. So this really is for all of us. The Sea of Galilee, pictured on your bulletin cover and on your screen, was notorious for sudden and violent sea squalls. When Jesus said, "Let's go over to the other side," the disciples must have thought that he was leading them to their destruction, not their salvation. And sure enough, just like that, a windstorm arose. I can see it in your faces. I don't need to tell you because you know it. Trouble can come up just that fast in life. Everything can be going beautifully. People can be congratulating you. Things can all be going your way, and then all of a sudden the telephone can ring, a tweet can chime in, and everything in your life can be turned upside down. Your son's been admitted to the hospital. Your daughter's been in an accident. Your spouse's medical tests come back. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in the midst of a storm. And getting beyond the storm seems beyond your strength. Those of us who have found ourselves in the midst of the storm know that we often get confused and think that this story, this parable, is about Christ's power to calm the sea. But that's not really Mark's version. Jesus wakes and says, "Peace, be still," which immediately calms the storm. And then comes the punchline question. Why are you afraid? Don't you have faith in me? Which storm did Jesus really calm? Yes, he calmed the wind and the waves. But the storm that Mark is highlighting is that he calmed the storm within them. That fight or flight, terror in the moment, panic button kind of insecurity that obliterates our inner calm and makes us a turbulent, irrational mess. That's what Jesus calms in Mark's parable. The fear that silences our inner spirit. Fear is our greatest foe. Sure, fear keeps us from doing some stupid things that may cause us harm or hurt. But fear does a lot more harm, reaps a lot more havoc, kills a lot more good from keeping us from fulfilling our potential, from standing up for what is right, more importantly, from feeling secure and safe in this world and in our own skin. When fear goes into overdrive, all reason, all knowledge, all trust is out the window. All we feel is mind-numbing, anxiety-producing, paralyzing terror. Faith, on the other hand, is born out of an inner calm. Fear kills that inner calm. It is near impossible to have faith when our trust meter has been flown off the charts. Fear is a killer. Faith is a lifesaver. The kind of trust or faith in our families, in others, in our surroundings, ourselves, and in Jesus too, is what sustains many of us through those difficult circumstances when life throws you a curveball. Faith gives us a steady hand in the midst of turbulent times. It allows our spirit to feel safe and secure. Even when the boat that we're in is rocking and pitching and a choppy sea of the culture is all around us, faith is our chill pill. Didn't you just love Caroline's sermon last week? I know that as I worshiped from Omaha, I thought to myself, wow, that's Calvin. Our first-year seminary students are better than most veteran preachers, self-included. As true as we all might think that is, do you see how misguided that is? You see, each and every week, preachers wrestle with themselves. You're right, we need to submit and allow it to happen. But for me, it's a wrestling match, okay? We wrestle with ourselves to put together a sermon that's of God, not of ourselves. And 10 times out of 10, when God wins that wrestling match, it's a great sermon. Caroline even alluded to it. Melt me, mold me, fill me, and use me. We, these insignificant little mustard seeds, only grow to have branches on which birds can rest and nest. God uses us best when we allow Jesus to say to our inner spirit, peace, be still. Or to say it another way, God best uses us when we allow God to melt our fears, when we allow God to mold us into God's desires for us, and when we allow God to fill us with the chill pill of faith. Then and only then can God really use us. This, my friend, is the moment you've been fearing. Connie's right. I'm wrong. We are not here to whip up a big storm of a party to celebrate Connie's ministry. Rather, we are here to celebrate what God has done through her. We are here to celebrate how she has allowed God to use her to care for Calvin, how God has used her to pray with and for Calvin, how God has used her to grow Calvin and hold Calvin together through 4 transitions. The transitions of 20 years of Graham's ministry, a couple years of Doug's ministry, the transition to my call, and the last-minute curveball thrown to you of 16 months of getting into and coming out of a pandemic. And you did all of this, when the plan was for you to retire before Graham. When we take all of that in, as our inner selves do, when we consider it as a whole, as our inner selves do, it must have felt like you were not hit by one storm, but hit by one storm after another, after another, after another. Now, it begs to ask, how did you do it? How did Connie endure all of that with the calm, with the grace, with the steadfast faith that we all know and love to be who God made Connie Fearson to be? How? I saw a Toby Mac meme that says it better than I. In the middle of pain and disappointment and suffering, it is faith that whispers, "This is not permanent." Or, to say it another way, Connie has had Jesus say to her storms, "Peace. Be still." Many, many times. The point is, it's hard work to be that centered, to be that grounded, to be that calm, to be that still. Faith like that does not just happen. It is built slowly but surely over time. It is built through trials and tribulations, and over good times and bad. Because see, sometimes God calms the storm. Sometimes God lets the storm calm us. God isn't the problem. We are. Because we don't always trust that God knows what God is doing. Friends, it takes years and years. No, it takes a lifetime of diligent discipline, a lifetime of patient practice, a lifetime of trials and tribulations for us to trust that God knows what God is doing. It takes a lifetime of trust that when Jesus says, "Peace, be still," he means peace. Be still. Amen. Amen. Wasn't that bad, was it? She said it was horrifying.